Hey baddies!
What's up, guys?
Today is episode 7 of Beauty and Ink podcast, and today we are talking about... What are we talking about? What did we just say we're talking about?
Oh my gosh.
We are talking about hobbies that we do to balance and better the relationship and our business.
Yes, very important.
Which is very on brand because we just kind of started some new routines, some new habits. So let's dive in. I'm going to let you start because you kind of are the reason that I started these new hobbies and habits and routines. So what do you feel? First, talk a little bit about the routine that we just started, and then we'll kind of go into the why.
Yeah, so we just started being early birds. So we've been getting up at 5:30 in the morning, and yes, I know people watching this are probably like, why are you electing to get up that early? But we get up at 5:30 and we journal for 15 minutes and have some coffee and just have some quiet time. And then we go to the gym and we work out for about an hour. Do some heavy cardio and heavy lifting, get the body moving. And then have a really nice breakfast. You know, come home, shower, and actually cook something that's not just cereal or a Crunch Bar on the go, because you got to just go right into your day.
Power
but actually,
through.
Yeah, but actually cooking, like, you know, some eggs with some fruit on the side, you know, and just keeping healthy and taking care of yourself with your body as well as your mind, you know, with that journaling in the morning. So that's what we've been recently doing, and kind of the why behind that is part of leading into our topic for today, right?
Yeah. We're just trying to regulate. I feel like it's so important to healthy body, mind, body, and spirit, right? That's going to help just keep you moving, keep you motivated, keep you in a good headspace. And I feel like doing it early in the morning keeps it from getting pushed to the wayside. It's no longer important. It's no longer a necessity to get it done. Waking up, doing those things right away, because we've tried to implement those things in the evening. Screw it, we're not going to wake up early. We're just going to wake up right before we have to, like, get ready, go to work. After work, we're going to do da-da-da-da-da. And then all those things get pushed to the wayside, or it becomes so late in the day that the next day when you're getting ready for work, getting out of bed is a drag. It is horrible because by the time we get off of work, it's about 5. I finish up with my clients around 5 or 6 o'clock. For my last client is usually leaving 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. And that sometimes for you, you're here till 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And then by the time that you break down, tear down, clean up, sanitize, disinfect, do all of those things, we don't get home. And we live 4 minutes from here. We still don't get home until at least an hour later. Now you have to eat before you go and do anything involving exercise, or even if we want to be like, today is our rest day, even just the get off at 6, don't get home till around 7. By the time you're done eating, after, even though we meal prep, you're running out of time to do any journaling, getting any downtime together, especially when you're still in that work mode, and you probably, while you were sitting there working, had all these different ideas come up for the business, right? Or for your personal life. So it's easier to do those things in the morning. It gives us more hours in our day, because I'm sitting here like, dang, it's 1 o'clock. We've been up since 5:30. Like, we've accomplished a lot already today. And when we get home, we have the rest of the evening to simply just chill. So I feel like it keeps us in not only a regimented routine, but it keeps us from pushing our goals to the wayside. Because that's really what it comes down to, is these are goals for our lifestyle that we want to live that also go hand in hand with, like I said, healthy body, mind, and spirit, to keep us moving and keep us rolling as people who have so much on our plate. I feel like it's really important and really essential to take care of your body, your mind, your spirit, your mental, your physical, and your emotional well-being. Otherwise, you're going to get into a rut, or just you're going to lose touch with kind of the purpose of everything.
Right. And furthermore, doing things in the morning like that is also you prioritizing yourself, right? Which I feel like is really important, especially with our lifestyle, right? And especially in recovery, right? So we've talked about that in our last couple episodes about, recovery and things like that. And I feel like prioritizing that and just really setting aside time where there are no distractions, the world isn't awake yet, so you actually have that opportunity to give that to yourself and to give yourself that time to be healthy and be the best version of yourself, right? And I find that it not only helps me obviously physically to take care of myself, but it helps me a lot mentally, to be able to actually show up to my appointments knowing I took care of all my stuff. I was not in a rush this morning. I was able to get a good meal. Like, I feel more solid, which sets me up for a more solid day, right? And I feel like that is not only giving myself the best version of myself, but it's giving my clients the best version of myself. It's giving my wife the best version of myself, because I'm actually showing up in the ways that I know I have the potential to do.
Well, it's like the cliche saying, like, you can't take care of others until you take care of yourself. You can't fill cups with an empty cup. So it's really important to make sure that you're filling your own cup. You're taking care of yourself. You're taking care of your own goals. You're staying in a healthy body, a healthy mind, a healthy spirit in those places, so that you don't try and pour from an empty cup. Because essentially, especially with what we do, and we're dealing with clients and we're dealing with each other, and then we will obviously would like to have a social life as well, it gets really easy to not, like you said, not be the best version of yourself if you're not, like, for those people. You're not the best version of yourself for those people, because you're not even the best version of yourself for you. Right. So if you can't show up for you, how can you show up for other people? So then when you're talking about us taking clients, multiple clients a day, how can you do your best for those people on an empty stomach when you're continuously thinking, oh my gosh, when I get off, I also have to do this, this, and this, where when you get done for the day, your last client is the last thing you have to do. Like, we have the rest of the evening together. So despite the fact that, yeah, we're probably going to not get home for an extra hour or so because we have to do all these things. Because I feel like there seems to be this misconstrued idea amongst our friends and our family that when we're like, yeah, my client's done at 5, they're like, oh, you're off at 5. And it's like, no, girl, I said my last client is done at 5. If you want to give me a FaceTime call because you're headed to the event or you need help picking out an outfit for whatever you got going on, that's one thing. But I still have to legally tear everything down, clean everything up, sanitize, put everything in its perfect little airtight containers. Like, we have things that we have to do. Even when you think about, like, bartenders, servers, even people that work at, like, Walmart, there are things that you have to do at the end of your shift. You got to lock the door. You got to mop the floors. You got to put all the stuff away. Like, there is still stuff that needs to get done at the end of a shift. So I don't know where that gets misconstrued, that we don't have that.
Yeah, I feel like, people don't, they don't have empathy for things they've never experienced. So it's not, you know what I mean?
We just talked about that yesterday, actually.
We did, actually. And, it's nothing against our friends. I love them dearly, and I want to spend as much time with them. I would want to spend time with me as well. So, you know what I mean? I can understand completely.
But we don't get to, like, just hop off our last meeting and we're done for the day. We don't get to just be like, all right, the end of my shift is the end of my shift. Because much like in our last podcast, was it the last one? The one before? 2 episodes ago, we were talking about those jobs that you have when you're a teenager and when you're an adolescent, and just your shift is done at 2 and you're like, I'm out of here at 2. And now looking back, I'm like, gosh, no wonder, like, at 1:59 when I'm like, well, who's going to take this headset? Who's going to take over? Who's going to switch out my register? Like, all of that. No wonder people were like, dude, give me a second. Because in the real world, you're not off at 2 o'clock on the dot. You are off at like 2:10. That's a good day. Otherwise, you're probably sticking around till 2:45, 3 o'clock before you're in your car pulling out of the parking lot. So to circle back, because Adiva has distractions, I feel like it's best for us, and everybody's different. Everybody's routine is different. Everybody's work shift is different. If you start at 5 a.m., God, I would never expect you or myself to start work at 5 a.m. and have done all of these things for myself before 5 a.m. Lord, no. I don't do this whole 5:30 in the morning routine because on my days that I work at 7 a.m. because you got me messed up. I'm not waking up at 4:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning to go journal, work out, do all those things. Yes, Unfortunately, then I'm off at 5. I don't get home till 6:30. The routine that we're talking about that kind of negatively impacts us happens. However, there are things that I am learning to be able to still slip in after a long day at work, after a day of taking 100 clients, after a day of not getting in the door and I am hangry at 6 p.m. or later. There are still things that I can do with my evening. And I'm learning that I have to prioritize myself as much as I prioritize the business, the clients, my friends, my wife, our podcast, whatever else that looks like. So I'm learning slowly where I can implement those things, despite the fact that I feel like I'm running out of time before I have to go to bed and then I got to wake up and do it all over again tomorrow. But I feel like that, again, goes hand in hand with our previous episodes where we talk about, like, what's the next thing? I'm constantly, even on a day-to-day basis, looking at my next 3 steps ahead instead of what can I do right now? Like, yeah, I didn't do everything I wanted to this morning, and I probably don't have the energy or the time to necessarily go to the gym and get in my cardio, because I like to do my cardio outside, and hit the pool and journal and do that. So I have to pick and choose. And if I have to pick and choose, I'm going to at least get outside and do a walk. I'm at least going to sit on the deck while I do my journaling, as much outside time as I can get. That's for me. That's the one thing I can't, like, give up, especially now that it's summertime and we live in the Midwest. So when we get that nice weather, we have to take advantage of it. What is something that you feel like you could not skip out on in your routine?
Honestly, I feel like it is a mixture of the journaling and my morning run, right? Because, the journaling helps kind of force me to check in with myself, because as an addict, I do like to stuff it all away. All those icky emotions that I don't want to deal with, they don't exist, right? Like,
until they come rushing to the surface.
Yeah, until they get into my relationship, and then all of a sudden I'm being some type of way. So the journaling is really good for grounding me into how am I doing today? How did I sleep last night? Did I have a horrible dream that maybe has put me in a mood? Or maybe, you know, there's certain goals that I want to accomplish for today that I need to write down so I can have accountability. But the morning runs, especially, you know, the working out piece is also very, you know, healthy and important. But I feel like the actual act of running a mile every morning is incredibly helpful for me, because not only am I getting physical exercise and I'm pushing myself and I'm kind of alleviating a lot of physical tension that I hold within myself, because I hold all of my anxiety and everything in my legs. That's just where I hold them. My legs and my hips and my tiny little feet. That's where I hold everything. So when I go for a run, it helps release that. But during my runs, I've been listening to this audiobook on recovery, and it's a very interesting audiobook, and there's a lot of things that really hit home for me. So I feel like it's kind of like a double whammy as far as positivity goes, because I'm exercising my body, but I'm also exercising my mind. And, you know, with addiction, I feel like the biggest pieces of healing are in that community, right? Because addicts understand other addicts, and people who don't struggle with addiction are very easy to judge us, especially when we put our addiction first over people, over things, over anything like that, because there's a lot of sacrifices that come with that, and it's very difficult to understand. Really, you know, connecting with these audiobooks and working these 12 steps every morning is really so beneficial, and I feel like that has been really implemental throughout my entire day, right? Because you know, let's say there's something in this audiobook that really resonates with me. For example, catastrophizing everyday small things, right? So this isn't just true for addicts. This is true with anyone with mental illness or trauma. I feel like is that, you know, a small thing can be catastrophized, and all of a sudden you're 20 steps ahead of the race, and you're thinking, oh my God, everything's gonna suck now, and the sky is gonna fall because of this one inconvenience, and now, you know, I'm in my screw it mentality. I'm in my, nope, everything sucks. I wanna run away and go hide in this little hole and do my thing with my drug of choice, or I want to go and say screw it and just go be irresponsible and, you know, not show up for the people who actually care about me. And so when I have, you know what I mean, these audiobooks and this support system that I'm working, it's easier for me to recognize, like, okay, maybe this was just a minor inconvenience that happened. Maybe I can just take a deep breath, do some emotional regulation, and then carry on with my day. So it sets the pretense for my entire day, you know, just checking in and really working my 12-step program.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you have come across lighter. Like, your energy has been much lighter since you implemented this routine. And I feel like for me, that was inspiring for me to be like, girl, you gotta get off your ass. You gotta do the shit that you've been saying. Because when your alarm went off this morning at 5:30, I said, absolutely not. And then I was like, one, it's gonna take me so long to get back to sleep that by the time you get home from the gym, I will have probably only been back asleep for 30 minutes. So I was like, you may as well get up now. May as well go do what you're talking about doing. Because at the end of the day, when we're done with recording our podcast, you took a client today, I ran some errands this morning, it's going to be 2 o'clock and we're going to go, dang, we got the rest of the day together. What do we want to do?
Go play basketball.
It is 92 degrees today, sweetheart. I don't know about all that. Maybe. We might have to.
I'm a little kid at heart. I'm like just a little...
You can put your goggles on to go swimming. Today's a perfect day to go swimming. It's 92 degrees. We'll phone our friends after this and be like, want to play mermaids? So I definitely have been inspired by you doing this routine for yourself. And I feel like that alone, like when you're in a relationship and your partner is doing something so good for themselves, if you're not motivated by the greatness that your partner is showcasing to be better yourself and do greatness yourself, I feel like, to circle back to like one of our first episodes, you're not going to be equally yoked. Because if you're over here doing better for yourself, I should look at that and go, wow, I really want to do something better for myself too. Because the better you become for yourself, essentially that should be better for our relationship, for our business, for our lifestyle. So for me to see you doing that and putting that work into yourself and putting your work into all of our other little things that we got going on together, why would I not want to do that as well and match you? You know what I mean? Like we got a 50-50 thing going here. So why would I not want to up that as well? And I can agree that like the running is definitely one of those things that I guess I really don't like to give up. Like I've always been like, absolutely not. I don't run unless something's chasing me. You know what I mean? Like I'll be in the gym lifting heavy, but cardio? Absolutely not. And then for whatever reason, I started running. Like these last couple weeks. We've been running and I got some long ass legs. So I've been doing a fast mile.
Yeah, and literally it's so freaking... I'm trying to keep up with her. I swear, every 2 steps I take is 1 step for her. Just like we were in high school again, and I'm trying to keep up with her in the hallways. I'm like, you know what I mean? Trying to struggle along.
I have found that running is really nice, and I feel like I have to do it outside because in my brain, running on a treadmill, running in place, I'm like, I am wasting my own freaking time. Even though I'm very well aware that I'm not, I'm very well aware of how productive that still is. I personally love to run outside. I mean, and that's one of the things that like I can run a mile right now. I'm not straight running. Okay. I just started running. I'm not running for a whole entire mile. I will run as far as I can until I feel like my heart's going to explode. I will walk until my heart is no longer feeling like it's going to explode. And then I will run again. So but my walk is like, still, like it is still very much like 3 of her steps is 1 of mine. So I'm still speed walking, like aggressively. And I have been busting a mile out in like, what was it today? 13:49.
Yeah, which really irritated me because I reached my personal best and her personal best was better than mine. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever.
Whatever, you got little legs. Lieutenant Dan, you ain't got no legs.
Oh my God.
So I feel like it takes me not even a full 15 minutes. Okay. Like, I mean, add in the fact that like I'll have to shower, I have to get ready for my run, etc., etc. But I can essentially roll out of bed, throw my hair up in a clip or throw a hat on, throw on my running gear, bust that out and take, even if I'm like running late, I could make that all happen in 30 to 45 minutes, real lickety split. And I feel like it just makes me feel so much more productive and very present, because you have to be present. And then another thing that I do, which she is like, absolutely hell no, is I take an ice cold shower afterwards.
Nope.
I tried to make her do it. I was like, come on, this is so good for your nervous system, for your respiratory system, for your anxieties. She literally stepped in the back of the shower. I am full in the ice cold stream. She steps in. Her feet are barely wet. She stepped right back out. I turned around and I laughed so hard because I was like, you just gave up? She's like, I will come in when you are done doing what you're doing. I just have to, like, especially like it is the coldest on my head, and I just have to let it just consume me and just cool me down. And I feel like it cools me down externally, internally, mentally, emotionally, physically. I just have like, while I'm running, I'm present and focused, and then that keeps me present and focused as well. And I feel like all of this really helps with my mental health.
Yeah.
And it helps me, like I said, stay present, because otherwise, like if I have a client that falls asleep while I'm doing her lashes, I am bing, 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 like a little ping pong ball in my head of all the things that I want. I have a notebook behind me and like my shelf that has all my products on it that I'm using from day to day, because I will have random things come into my head that I'm like, I need to accomplish this when I get off. I need to accomplish this. And that's another reason why I like to get these things done as much as I can in the mornings, because then when I get done work and I have this list of things that I thought about during my shift, I can pick a couple things off of there, tackle those, because I'm also learning about balance. Because as much as I'm a Libra and I'm supposed to know all about the balance, I be overworking the shit on myself. Mm-hmm. And I just be wanting to get it all done all the time. And then I'm exhausted and I wonder why. So as much as I'm a Libra, I have ADHD and crippling imposter syndrome. So, anyway.
And let's touch on that a little bit, because like I feel like, you know, since I have implemented this routine,
do you not feel that when you have like a hair stuck in your eyelash?
Because for those watching on Spotify, like, she just moved one of my hairs. But you know what? I'm like the old school Italian. Like we always have to have one strand in our face, being all super cool. Anywho, so let's
until it flips one of your lash extensions over, and then you have a freaking meltdown about your eyeballs.
For real. Well, anyway, circling back, so let's talk a little bit about how taking care of yourself and having these routines has impacted self-esteem. Because for me, I know that there has been a really positive upwards curve since I have implemented this routine. It's given me a sense of self and a sense of worth, knowing that I am showing up for myself and knowing that I have accomplished these things, and keeping these promises to myself. So one thing about my recovery also, because recovery isn't just clean time, and I want to preface that. Recovery is also dealing with the reason that you used in the first place.
Can you repeat that for the people in the back?
Yeah, so a lot of people think that when you are in recovery as an addict, that the main thing, that if you just stop using the drugs, everything will be perfect, you will be fine, and your problems will be solved. That is not true. The drugs, the alcohol, whatever you were using, that is the solution to the problem that you had. There was actually a point in my audiobook that made me teary-eyed, and I was in the gym on the treadmill, like being like, bitch, don't cry right now, you are in public. You know what I mean? Because one thing that he said in the audiobook, it just struck me, as he was talking about when he was in rehab for the first time, and he was feeling really down about himself for using and for getting that low, because as an addict you will break your standards quicker than you can lower them. And a lady in the rehab center said to him, how clever of you to have found drugs, because you found a way to survive. You found a way to make your existence tolerable, right? And that's kind of the general MO of addiction, right? So recovery isn't just clean time. It's literally dealing with the reasons that you used in the first place. And for me, a big reason that I use, I've talked about, you know, a little bit my traumatic past. So I have PTSD, or CPTSD. For those of you who don't know what CPTSD is, it's It's PTSD with a little asterisk above it. It's just some special extra credit for PTSD, okay? So it's great stuff.
It is specifically, CPTSD stands for complex PTSD. So it's, we could have an episode on that if we really wanted to, but you guys can also just do a quick little Google search of a comparison. It strikes your nervous system and your entire brain rewiring much different, similar, but very different than regular PTSD does.
And the biggest thing with CPTSD is because I'll give you a quick synopsis, right? PTSD is usually centered around one event. CPTSD is around many events or an entire lifetime of events, right? So when you have an entire lifetime's worth of trauma and you learned very early on and through a prolonged period of time that you cannot trust your environment. And you also can't trust yourself because unfortunately, you weren't able to save yourself from those situations. Other people weren't able to save you from those situations. So there's zero trust for yourself. There's zero trust for anybody else. And you're just kind of on this island of isolation. Hence why, you turn to drugs and alcohol to help self-soothe, right? So showing up for myself and keeping promises to myself, such as, I'm going to start a routine. I'm going to wake up at 5:30 in the morning. I'm going to have myself a really nice espresso. And then I'm going to go for a run and I'm going to do these things. Showing up for myself and keeping those promises instills a sense of trust within myself to regulate my nervous system and rewire this idea that I've had of the world of like, okay, people can be trusted. I can trust myself to know what's best for myself. Mm-hmm. So that I feel like has been super big, and when you show up for yourself, you will inherently find more confidence and self-worth. Even if it's something just as simple as you don't have to get up at 5:30 in the morning. If you just tell yourself, before bed, I'm going to do my skincare routine. I'm going to make myself feel good. I'm going to do this, and keep that promise to yourself. You will be surprised at how much it helps your self-worth and your self-esteem.
Oh, 100%. And to touch on you saying like, showing up for yourself is so good for you and you keeping these promises to yourself, that inherently also affects our relationship because we had a conversation where I was like, I love that you started this routine after talking about it and talking about it and talking about it because I am also so used to people saying they're going to do something, they're going to accomplish something, they're going to get started here, they're going to do whatever, and whether they never start it ever or they start it, it lasts maybe a couple days, congratulations on a week, and then they fall completely off. And that goes hand in hand with the fact that I have dealt with many addicts. I've dealt with alcoholics. I have dealt with many of those same individuals. And it's the desire that you have for change. It's the desire you have to better yourself. And I know now that that is very important to me because it can be very triggering to me when someone says, oh, I'm going to do da-da-da-da-da, I'm going to get this done, I'm going to start this, I'm going to go here, I'm going to help you with whatever, and then it never happens. So it's very comforting to me to actually have a partner that is showing up for themselves because I know that not only are you going to be able to show up for yourself, but inherently you're also going to be able to show up for me and for the people that we surround ourselves with. So I like knowing that you can handle whatever you say you're going to. You can put something on your plate and it's not going to break your plate or you're going to push it off in a day or two. It's nice to know that if I need help with something, I can also rely on you because it kind of goes hand in hand. If you're lying to yourself, but you're out loud lying to yourself, it kind of comes off as lies to other people, right? Because they're empty and broken promises to you. But you've already verbalized them. You've already made them real to the other people around you. And it falls to the wayside. So it's kind of like, oh, well, that person's always saying they're going to get the new gym routine. They're going to start eating better. They're going to cut out meat. They're going to start waking up early. They're going to start whatever that looks like. And when it continuously falls to the wayside, it becomes repetitive. And even the people around you start to be like, girl. So it's really comforting for me to have somebody that like steps up to the plate for themselves.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that. I want to ask you, to expand on that a little bit because, being someone who's been in relationships with multiple addicts, who have struggled and unfortunately failed at addiction, how is it, being with somebody who is actively working on recovery and having the courage to not stop. You know what I mean? And not having relapses. Because I know that we touched in one of our episodes about, you know, the biggest fears, you know what I mean, as far as being married to an addict. So are those fears still as predominant as they were even a few weeks ago?
I feel like you're like, please tell me how much you love me and how great I'm doing.
Oh, of course, I'm a Leo. Praise me.
Yeah, I feel like every day that you and I are together and I see how healthy of a relationship we have, how you're working to be a healthier and a better person, those fears are going to the wayside, right? Like that's one of those things that I've talked to you about, we've talked about on the podcast, our close friends have heard me say, there are parts of you that when you get traumatized or you get broken, you get hurt, you have to heal on yourself. Those are your broken pieces you have to pick up. But if the hurting, the traumatizing, the brokenness comes from a place where someone else was involved, you have to at some point let somebody back in to help heal those wounds. If somebody had an affair and you were heartbroken, you had to go through a divorce, your entire life had to shift. I have to pick up the pieces to put myself back together, to come back to that self-love, that self-worth, that self-validation, etc. I have to do those things to make myself be put back together. But for me to ever trust another person, for me to know that love is safe, for me to not be the hyper-independent partner, I have to have a partner who I'm comfortable exploring those options with. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that is... So we're working on it. We're healing. We're learning that it is safe over here. It's comfortable to be ourselves over here.
I come in peace.
You truly are an alien. And so, yes, I feel like those fears are going to the wayside. It is, like I said, it is extremely comforting and it is extremely satisfying and refreshing to have somebody who is... I'm not the only one who's stepping up to the plate going, I want better for myself. I have these goals. I want to accomplish them. I want to see this happen. I want to be here. I want to do this. I actually have somebody who's doing it with me. And it's not just for right now. I've had, I haven't even told you this. I have had at least 4 or 5 clients just this past weekend, Saturday and Sunday, say, I can tell the difference in you from you with your ex-girlfriend and you with your ex-wife versus who you are now with Frankie. And they don't even know you. These aren't even people that have gotten tattooed by you. These are not people that are... One of my clients didn't even know we were married. I don't think she follows me on any social media, so, you know, whatever. And some of my clients, like, they come in, they lay down, and they are just yapping the entire time. Like, I'm just like, yep, uh-huh, oh, wow. Like, that's literally all I can get in because she's just... I'm the first female that she has talked to in the last 2 weeks, and she needs to have some girl time. Girl, get it. So I don't even care. But then, like, she was literally like, did you say wife? And I was like, I've been saying wife. And she was like, when did you get married? Like, I knew you guys were serious, but like, and I was like, very serious. Known her for 20 years. Like, and so she let me yap for like 15 minutes, and she was like, I can tell how much better you are. And like, this client literally hardly knows anything about me because she, like I said, needs to come in and get her girl time, get her tea time, get her, like, get it all out of her system. So I definitely, I know, because I can feel it, but it's like going to the gym. You're gonna feel it, you're gonna notice it, and then other people are gonna notice it, and they're gonna start saying it to you, right? And that's when you're really, because we've talked about this in previous episodes where, like, external validation, while even when you feel like you don't need it, when you get it, whether you've asked for it, you felt like you needed it, you wanted it or not, when you receive external validation, especially without asking for it, it just takes you to the freaking moon. Like, it just literally makes you be like, I'm really doing that. People are really seeing this about me. And to know that people have already, just in the last few months, been like, you are so much better off with Frankie than you have been with anybody else. Like, that's very telling. And I feel like that's very on brand for our relationship.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like you and I just work really good together, you know? Because, like, we both constantly are trying to help and love the other person and better the other person because we want each other's highest good. Like we've said in our last, couple episodes ago, you should want the highest good for your partner,
Yes.
you know, and you
100%.
should constantly be encouraging them in a healthy way, like, hey, maybe try this, hey, maybe try that, you know. And I feel like, especially, you know, I can tell a difference in myself, you know what I mean, even since you and I got married and tied the good old knot, you know, because you push me in such positive ways to just continuously work on myself. And even
you're getting misty-eyed.
Shut up. I'm sensitive, okay? But for real, I mean, like, you really do push me to be the best version of myself, and it is a support that has been foreign to me for a very long time, and I welcome it with just an open heart, and I you know, hope that you know how much I appreciate you and everything that you do for me.
Oh, Pookie, I do. I think that is the main point of the episode, is that the hobbies and the habits and the things that we have implemented in our lives to better balance our relationship and our business, they kind of go hand in hand. Our business and our personal life kind of go hand in hand, right? Mm-hmm. Especially because you and I own a business together and we're wives. It just all kind of flows as one big thing. And unfortunately, the cliche things of journaling, moving your body, being out in nature, eating appropriate foods, eating healthy foods, drinking enough water, those are all things that are they're cliche for a reason. It's because they work. So for us, we're just going to keep doing those things because it makes you better, it makes me better, and inherently that makes us better together, which just floors our relationship and our business. So yeah. I feel like, I hope nobody was expecting us to say anything super like weird and wild and crazy, because unfortunately, like, the cliche things are really what work the best. Like taking care of yourself, even in the event of just taking a shower, washing your hair, and then putting your leave-in conditioners in at the end of your shower, doing your skincare routine, lotioning up your body before you start your day. It seems so cliche, so minuscule, so just like, okay, yeah, duh. But for somebody who struggles with getting up every day and taking care of themselves, that is something that is, again, it's going to make you a better person, that is going to fill your cup to where you can pour it into these other cups, whether that's your relationships, your familial relationships, your business, your home life. All of that is going to just circle around. And the better you feel from that, and then you pour it into cups, you still have enough left in your cup to almost like pour back into your cup and do something else better for yourself. So the more things you do good for yourself, you're going to continue to see results that are going to give you more spark and more gasoline to do other things for yourself, to continue bettering yourself.
Absolutely. And even so, like, I feel like, you know, using an analogy, right? It's like you're using premium gas versus the cheap shit, right? So if you feed yourself McDonald's and are constantly watching Fox News where everything's always shit, you know what I mean? Yeah, your engine's not going to run at full capacity, you know what I mean? You got to put that premium Zen type shit in there, you know what I mean, in order for everything to run
and you
smooth.
And I've even recently talked about like lessening the doom scrolling. Mm-hmm. When we are at home and we do have time together and we have free time, let's not sit here and doom scroll. Let's actually watch the TV shows that we've talked about. And you could say that doom scrolling versus a TV show, like, oh, who cares, it's screen time, it's rotting your brain, blah blah. But personally, we are so tuned into life all the time because we interact with so many people. We have to pay attention to these things because we own a business. So what's going on in the economy and what's going on politically directly affects how our business operates, the taxes we have to pay, any additional fees or charges, or
the fact that we're gay. That's also
yeah.
Just gonna throw that out there.
There is a lot that goes on in the world that we unfortunately have to consistently stay tuned in with. So when we want to shut our brains off, getting on social media and continuously being connected, we're like, we need to put that down. Let's play a video game together. Let's play a card game together. Let's do painting. Like, let's do something. You know, we literally said at the end of spring, end of winter, beginning of spring, we were like, we want a 90s themed summer. We want a 90s themed running around, playing outside, in the pool. She just bought goggles the other day.
Yeah, and they're big old heifers.
With a snorkel.
Yeah.
Okay? We've got these gaudy, god-awful, super gaudy, ridiculous beach towels. Okay? We're just out here doing the dang thing. We picked up a basketball. We're talking about going and picking up a football so we can just play catch instead of having to, like, find a basketball hoop. Because why is it so hard to find a basketball court?
Dude,
Like,
I have no freaking idea. Nobody plays basketball anymore, but nobody romanticizes life. Everybody's sitting in their little screens watching their little freaking Instagram stories.
I just heard on a podcast that I was listening to the other day, she said, you have to live a life that feels delicious. And when she said delicious when talking about her life, I was just like, oh my God. I loved that. And I've been using that since I heard that like 2 weeks ago. I've literally been like, I want a life that is delicious. And that kind of kicked me back into just my own, like, because she was already doing her routine. She was already into that. But I was like, 5:30 in the morning, screw that. But the more that I've seen her be better, like I was just saying, it's made me want to do better. So those two things hand in hand kind of kicked me back into taking pictures of random shit. I literally have been to Trader Joe's 2 or 3 times in the last like 2 weeks to pick up peonies because I'm like, peonies are going to stop blooming. They're going to be out of stock. They're going to be out of season. I need to get them as many times as I can, right? I've already been like doing cutesy little hairstyles with my hair instead of just throwing it up in a freaking bun. I only threw it up in a clip today because it got hotter than hell in here when we started screwing around in the studio. So but other like just those little things to take care of myself, back to journaling, little things like that. And then today again, that little bit of premium gasoline in my car fueled me enough to want to take that next step. Waking up at 5:30 this morning and saying, I am going to go to the gym. I am going to do this. I am going to do that. We've already ran laundry, done the dishes, cat litter box changed, dropped off recycling, took out the trash. Like, girl, all before 10 a.m. She had a client at 10. We both left the house just after 9. All of these things were already accomplished. Crazy work. Could never catch me awake before 10 a.m. usually. And now I'm feeling some type of way about like waking up at 5:30 and having everything accomplished. Because inherently that's also going to mean that around 8, 9 o'clock, I'm going to be like, dang, I'm really tired. And now I want to go to bed at a decent time so that waking up on the days that I have to work isn't going to suck as hard. Because not only did I keep that 5:30 a.m. routine alive, but I also was going to bed at a decent time. So, but I feel like we've kind of... Is there anything else you want to touch on in regards to the habits, the hobbies, and the things that we do in our personal time to better us as a couple, us personally, or our business?
I think we covered a lot of stuff. For those of you watching, I would encourage you to take a personal inventory of... God, I sound like such a 12-step preacher because that's one of the steps. But yeah. For real, take a personal inventory of your habits and how they make you feel, right? So, take your day and just really be like, how did doom scrolling for 3 hours make me feel as opposed to going outside? Do I feel better or worse than when I started?
Seriously.
And just continuously look at that and try to romanticize life. If you find things that are just small that would make you happy, like wearing gaudy goggles and going to the pool and doing a handstand, do those things because that's putting premium gasoline in your car, and that inherently helps recovery. That inherently helps mental illness when you take care of yourself and when you do things that just make you happy. That's why we're on this planet, is to do things that make us happy.
And either try things that you did when you were a kid that literally brought you so much joy, or try new things that you've always wanted to try that you've never been given the opportunity, because now you're an adult with free will who can just go do whatever you want to. Do it. Just do it. Nike that shit.
Yeah. So go have fun, you guys. It's an order.
And don't forget to subscribe, follow, like, comment, do all of the things when it comes to Spotify and YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And we will catch you guys next week for episode 8.
All right. Adios, muchachos.
Bye.